Well, part of building a stable household is an effort from both the community, the neighborhoods, your own household, and individuals as well. That includes a huge element of this, a strong relationship between a father and their child, or a father figure and their child or children. One of the organizations in our local area, COTS Detroit, is putting forth a new Dad-scussions effort in order to help fathers facilitate some of those better and stronger relationships at home. Joining us now on the program is Gerald Edwards, the Dad-scussions facilitator for COTS Detroit. Gerald, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on to talk to us about COTS's new Fatherhood initiative. This has been going on for just a couple of years. It's a relatively new initiative. So tell us about this Fatherhood initiative and what it is focusing on in our local area.
Okay, the Fatherhood initiative is a COTS effort that was really based and founded through the Kresge Foundation. It was some funding that they provided for a consortium to do a study on fatherhood and family issues. It was birthed ultimately out of Alameda County with a gentleman named Kevin Bremen and Dara Griffin. Were the first, were basically the founders of this in conjunction, as I said, in conjunction with the Kresge Foundation. The purpose of this is to really more or less redefine some of the stereotypical definitions that have been developed in terms of fatherhood, especially fathers of color, Black and brown fathers who have been kind of perceived as being uninvolved and not interested in their children and being involved in their children's lives, which nothing could be further from the truth. These fathers are individuals that actually do love their children, want to be in their lives, want to interact with them, want to guide them and to participate in their lives. I know of no father that wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to see if I can be the worst father known to man. That they really are desirous of being in their father's lives. And so out of that overall general definition of what we perceive as fatherhood, we have developed this fatherhood initiative that now has a branch of it called Dad-scussions. Dad-scussions is right now has been a Zoom meeting that meets once a month and brings on different resources to meet with the fathers, to help them to measure up to be the fathers that they are really desirous of being. We have had individuals on Dad-scussions such as the Lakeshore Legal Aid to help fathers to understand their rights of fatherhood. That we've had some individuals from Bank of America have come on and talked about establishing credit, talked about investments and savings to help to overall foment a foundation for families. We are later in the summer, we're going to be doing some family fishing outings. We're going to be going to Tigers games, but just doing wholesome things besides providing the fathers with resources that can help them to stabilize and effectively create opportunities for them to be the fathers that they desire. We're going to also be doing some fun social things that the fathers can interact with other families and with their own, and then to be able to do some fun things. We believe that the fatherhood experience needs to be a very wholesome, well-rounded experience, and that's what we are attempting to create through the Dad-scussions and through the overall Fatherhood initiative.
And you mentioned, Gerald, that this is about taking what COTS Detroit and what this initiative overall defines as fatherhood and helping to refine that in fathers across our local area. So from the organization standpoint, what does fatherhood mean to COTS Detroit and that organization? But also on a personal level, Gerald, what does fatherhood mean to you?
Well, fatherhood is very critical. Let's look at it from the organization's perspective first. The fatherhood and being a father is very, very critical because the fathers are a key part of the family. And so many times, a lot of organizations, and as was the case with COTS, works solely with a lot of women and their children, mothers and their children, and the fathers are kind of oh, by the way, kind of an also ran and not really included in the activities and the livelihood and the life of the family. And so we have recognized that shortfall and recognized the need to include the fathers in what we do and make that an integral part of what we do, because fathers are an integral part of the family. For me, fatherhood is oh so important, oh so critical to who I am as an individual, who I am as a man, and to be able to show that leadership in my family, but doing it in a kind and loving way that I can now show my family, my children, and others that are watching. And make no mistake about it, we as the heads of families and as fathers, we're observed and we're watched by individuals who we hope we're doing the kind of things that we want others to recognize and emulate and bring that a part of their families. I am about wanting to make sure as best that I can with all that is within me to make sure that the families and the fatherhood involvement in families is a wholesome and a very integral part of my family and every family that we want to represent and to influence.
More information can be found on COTS Detroit's website, COTSDetroit.org. At the top of the page, there will be a link to the Fatherhood Initiative that will take you to the Fatherhood Initiative's direct website for even more information and ways that you can participate. We're joined on today's edition of the program by COTS Detroit's Dad-scussions facilitator, Gerald Edwards, along with COTS Detroit, one of over 350 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. Gerald, for those that may be interested in these kinds of programs, fathers or even father figures, how can they get involved? Who's eligible to participate, and how can they make that happen?
As you just mentioned about the cotsdetroit.org/fatherhood, you can go into that website and you can get information about the Fatherhood Initiative. And there we have each month when we have our monthly meetings, we produce a flyer that kind of talks about that month's subject and or presenter and what we're going to be talking about. So it is there on that website and allows for individuals to then to be able to register for the Zoom meeting. But our next meeting, we're not meeting in the month of July, but the August meeting will be an in-person meeting, and it will be held at our Peggy's Place Family Shelter, and that will take place on the third Tuesday of August. And again, that flyer and the information that we're going to be sharing will be on the website. And we are open and inviting for any father, any grandfather, any male that is interested in recognizing that they're going to become a father soon and or one day. We want all men to be able to, they're invited to join us no matter what stage or phase of fatherhood you are, whether you are now or will be. Please come and join us on our involvement with our Dad-scussions and with our monthly meetings. And whatever we're doing for that month, it is open to all men. So just make sure that you feel totally welcomed and invited, because you are.
And that's a really interesting point too, Gerald, because people at different stages of fatherhood, whether they're an expecting father, they're anticipating maybe becoming a father, they have been one, maybe they're a grandparent, they all come with different experiences, they all come with different shortcomings maybe that they've experienced in their fatherhood, and can teach each other also some of these lessons too. So especially with there being in August, you mentioned the in-person Dad-scussions. Have you found, even overall, as these have been over Zoom facilitated so far, that's also created a sense of a community amongst fathers in the local area?
Yeah, absolutely, it has. But we're now recognizing that we need more than just to have the meeting and invite individuals who will come and join us. We need to have that special personal connection and touch. And that's why we're moving now to the in-person, because we really want people to be able to comfortably interact one with another, share their ideas, their thoughts, their experiences, and to be able to bring people from where they are to the level that they want to be. We are very non-judgmental. We have people coming to us. We don't pass any judgment and say, well, what you need to do and what you should be doing. We don't do that. We offer what we offer with the intent of offering information and resources and connectivity to those fathers to help them to just grasp on to. It's like going to a buffet. You don't eat everything that's there, but you eat the part that you want, what you need, what you like. Take that, incorporate it, use it to make for a better experience for you and your children.
In the end, when all is said and done, Gerald, what ultimately is both COTS Detroit and even for yourself personally, your goal in terms of what fathers or father figures are taking away from this program?
What we're trying to provide and wanting them to take away is the resource information that we provide, the relationship development between them, our staff, and other fathers, and again to help them to move to a level. And I have to caution myself and never using the term so that they can be better fathers, because that kind of implies that they're not good fathers or they could be different. And so we just really don't want to use that as a judgmental kind of a statement. We want those fathers to take away that which they need, want, and desire to make themselves a better father. And when I say better father, that's being the father that they see that they are and the father that they want to become. And that's the key to elevate themselves to a level of where their desires to be in order to be more effective in their family relationships.
You can find more information and ways to get involved in the Fatherhood initiative, including Dad-scussions through COTS Detroit on their website, cotsdetroit.org, or also go to sharedetroit.org and search under their Find a Nonprofit section for COTS Detroit. And again, the next Dad-scussions event will be happening in person in August. cotsdetroit.org to find more information, or follow them on social media on Facebook at COTS Detroit. Same goes for both Twitter and Instagram. COTS Detroit is the place to look. Gerald, anything else we haven't discussed yet on Dad-scussions that would be important for our audience to keep in mind as we wrap things up today?
Okay, just briefly, we have also developed a photo bank of Black and brown fathers interacting with their children. That this photo bank is what you would look for as a file photos for advertisement, for whatever you might want to show family involvement, because we again are trying to change the narrative of Black and brown fathers. And so that photo bank is also on our website, that you can access it with a subscription through COTS. You can access the photo bank to be able to just get fathers that are interacting with their children in a very casual way. One last thing about that, this again was developed in Alameda County, and some of those photos showed up on buses because they were using it for advertisement for Head Start programs. And so again, they're for wholesome advertisement for individuals that need and want to show the positive aspects of Black and brown fathers. We have that in our photo banks.
Gerald, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.